If you fear, hate, or avoid selling, then this podcast episode is for you. Welcome to episode 864 of the Daily Sales Message Podcast, where every single day I share a piece of simple and actionable advice that's designed to help you feel more confident and sell more stuff too. Now, I've met thousands of people over the years in my business who are terrified of selling. I'm not a salesperson. I can't sell, blah, blah, blah. And there's loads and loads of hang-ups around it. And I want to talk you through in this episode a couple of the common ones, and most importantly, how we can overcome them. So the first issue that we have is when we think of salesman, saleswoman, sales team, etc. If you Google image search that stuff, you'll get pictures of Gordon Gekko and Wolf of Wall Street and all this very masculine, very aggressive, assertive imagery, and it's just not correct. I've sold hundreds of millions of pounds worth of stuff in my career, and I am the least intimidating and least aggressive person you can probably meet. And you'll probably get that from me on this podcast. I'm very laid back, very open and honest, and I just like to enjoy my day, have a good time, not get too stressed out if possible. But I've still been a very successful salesperson. You see, the trouble is, we think if we're not sure how to sell, we're not very comfortable, we think we've got to replicate the behavior we've seen. So we think, oh, well, we have to become ABC, always be closing. And we adopt this persona that's perhaps not us, and then we feel really incongruent and disconnected and uncomfortable because we're playing a role that's just not us. Or we go to the other extreme where we're so afraid of selling that we go to this one where we're meek and mild and we're in the friend zone and we never sell anything to anybody. The reality is your buyers are looking for confidence, certainty and expertise. That's it. So you can't replicate the behavior that you've seen and be overly aggressive if that's not you. All you need to remember is this: sales is a conversation with money at the end. Focus on the communication piece first. Then as the conversation progresses, the buyer will make it clear to you if they're interested or not, or you'll just sense it through how specific they are about what's going on. And then if it's appropriate, we can talk about it and the money, etc. And if it's not, then we won't. But if you focus on communication rather than selling, it's one of those little hacks. It feels too easy to be true, but it's one of those little hacks, a little mind shift that will relax you in the moment. Because who's getting nervous about communicating correctly? Nobody. But you do get nervous about selling because I have to sell you, or you're going to sell me on the reasons why you're not going to buy, blah, blah, blah. And it's all just too much pressure, too much nonsense. So don't be a salesperson per se, be a spokesperson. Concentrate on communication, because all of selling is just communication. It's a conversation with money at the end. Right, that's it for this episode of the podcast. Join me tomorrow in episode 865, where I'm going to tell you a psychological trick that make buyers chase you, not the other way around. So we'll be covering that tomorrow. Thank you for listening or watching all the way to the end. I appreciate it.